Hi Sociology. So in today's video we're going to be starting our second unit on culture. Now cultures are very different than societies. We talked about what a society is. It has to be in the same geographical territory, has to have the same political authority and the same cultural expectations. A culture is what a society makes. So a society is the actual group. Culture is what that society produces. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. Hope you're excited. I'm excited. Let's get started. Now, there are a few terms that I'd like you to know. There are going to be 2 slides of these terms. So just make sure that you note that. We're going to be seeing these on future summative assessments. So you can see we're talking about beliefs, folkways, values, norms. A lot of those things are about the characters of societies, what they believe is important, the expectations of behavior in a society. And here we go. What is culture? Culture is the shared products of human groups. So where societies are people, culture is what people create. So technology, language, clothes, religious beliefs, values about what's important to that society, how you act in society, that's all culture. Okay, the products that society creates. Now there are 2 types of culture. There's material culture, which basically it's something we can touch, something we can see. A phone is part of material culture. Clothes are part of material culture because I can see it, because I can touch it, because I can feel it. The other part of culture are non-material culture. That's things you cannot see and you cannot touch. So those would be things like the belief in our society being peaceful and loving other people, and the language that we speak, not write, but we speak. The ideas we have about how we greet one another, how we play sports. Those are all parts of non-material culture. So now we talked about culture, let's talk about cultural diversity. Because within every culture, not everyone is the same. They don't all have the same beliefs. They don't all have the same exact language or technology. So there is some diversity that a society produces with their culture. Cultural diversity is a wide range of cultural differences found between societies and within a society. A society can have multiple cultural differences in that society. They can create multiple kinds of culture. Now, sometimes that's because of a geographic region where that society is split and they don't interact with one another very much. That could be because of climate. You have to have different clothes. You use different words because of where you are. For instance, a lot of the words that people use for mountains are actually Spanish words because, more exposure to different kinds of mountains, so different words. Sometimes it's due to social circumstances. Teenagers used words that adults do not use, and that's because of your exposure to different forms of technology. There are cultural differences found between demographics, with different ethnicities within a society, within different age groups within a society. So there is a lot of diversity that a society, a lot of cultural diversity that a society produces. Now, there are 5 main parts of culture, and they'll fit either into material or non-material. And those are technology. We're going to talk about each one of these in just a second, by the way. Symbols, language, values, and norms. Now, we talked a little bit about symbols in the previous lesson, and you can kind of guess what language is. You can have an idea about what technology is. These are the 2 ones that you probably don't have a lot of exposure to. So, let's start banging these out. First, technology. Technology just means objects that a society produces or uses and how to use them. So a phone, that's an object that society uses in their culture. There are certain rules on how to do that. Sports balls, clothes, toys, chairs, desks, housing stuff. It's all objects that are used for a specific purpose. For instance, let's talk about a refrigerator, right? When I ask you what the purpose of a refrigerator is, you say to cool food. Well, what if in a society, their culture says that a refrigerator, that technology is used to hold clothes. You could use it to hold clothes. Heck, you could use it as a bathtub if you wanted to. But in most societies, the rules for using a refrigerator is you plug it in and put your food in there so it gets kept cold. Symbols We talked about this before. Anything that represents something else. So really the most common form of symbols in a society is a language that's written down, or hand symbols like this. Most of us know what that means. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Sometimes you got to be careful when you go to different societies because their cultural symbols are different than yours. So certain symbols that you might use would be considered offensive in other societies. Sometimes you got to be careful when you move around a little bit. Now let's talk about values. Values, shared beliefs about what is good or bad, right or wrong. Now here's the really important part. Values determine the character of a society and the kind of culture they have. So what are some different types of values that we may see in a society? Some societies value independence and hard work, that no one's going to help you, so everything is very self-sufficient. Some societies are very communal, where the entire community works together not only to raise kids, but to provide food and protection for that community. Sometimes the value is loving others and being generous, so people will donate to charities and will give their time to help people who are less fortunate. Some societies value war and strength, and so they're always fighting. They're very warlike, aggressive people. Whatever a society values determines their character and the kind of culture that you have. If you have a very powerful warlike society, you're not going to have a whole lot of charities. If you are a society that values loving other people, then you're going to have a lot of opportunities and welfare programs for the poor. If you're a very communal society, well then you're not really going to like someone who just keeps to their own business and doesn't chat with anyone else or interact with anyone else. So those are values. Now based on those values about what that society thinks is important or not important, that's going to determine norms. Now norms, and this is probably one of the most important definitions that you'll see in this course because I love norms. These are the rules that tell people how to act. So if you are going up to someone and you're going to say hello to them, a lot of times you might shake their hand, you might kiss them on the cheek. That is a norm. That is an expectation of behavior, that when you are greeting someone, this is what you do. When you are speaking to someone who is older than you, this is how you speak. When you go to work, this is how you carry yourself. When you drive, this is how you drive. When you wear clothes, this is how you wear them. This is how you are modest. This is how you are respectful. Norms are the expectations for behavior. Values are just ideas. Norms are actions. Now here's the thing. They are expectations for a behavior. Does not mean everyone will follow them. You know plenty of people, even in high school, that don't follow the norms of everyone else, who listens to different music and dresses a little bit differently and talks a little bit differently, and they don't quite meet the expectations of the norms in high school. Some groups actually are not allowed to follow the norms. Some groups even can supersede them. Some people with a lot of power and money, they don't have to follow the expectations of everyone else. They can bypass lines and get through paperwork quickly because they have connections or because they have a lot of money. Some groups, you can't follow norms because we're not allowing you to go here or interact with these people or do these things. I love this cartoon, by the way. Wait, listen to me. We don't have to be just sheep. Yeah, okay. Funny humor. So, kinds of norms. There are two basic kinds of norms. Folkways. These are things that are basically, they're not crucial. If you don't follow them, you're considered a little weird, but no one's going to target you. So that's being respectful of people who are older, greeting people in a certain way, parking in certain correct spots. If you don't do that, your life isn't threatened. You're not considered a danger to society, but you're considered rude. People won't like you for it. Now, mores are rules of behavior that are very important because if you violate them, you would actually endanger the stability of a society. So if you kill someone, if you set something on fire, if you commit rape or robbery, if you cheat on your exams, these are all things that there are very strong consequences if you break those expected rules of behavior because it destabilizes the society that you're in. Now, a lot of these mores turn to laws. For instance, if the more is don't kill people, the law is do not commit murder or you go to jail. If there's a more of you don't rob someone else's house and take their stuff, the law becomes don't breaking and entering is illegal. If you do this, you get arrested and go to jail for this long. So those are norms, and we just finished our look at the different components of culture, material, non-material, and then within those material and non-material branches, we've got norms and values and technology and symbols and language. Well, hope you learned something you did not know before. Thanks for watching.